Well, hello again, RC Submarine fans. This is Bob Martin, known as the RCSubGuy all over the world. And if you're tuning in here, it means you're interested in the hobby of RC submarines and maybe specifically what we're doing here at the Nautilus dry docks, which is good because that's what I'm going to be talking about throughout the course of this video. It's Wednesday. Typically, my update videos go from Monday to Friday, let you know what I do throughout the course of the week, all of the trials, tribulations, successes, failures, and all of that kind of stuff. But this is going to be a short week because we went up to Florida, no, down to Florida, over to Florida to pick up Logan, the RC Sub Kid, whom you've seen in these videos, and we got marooned there by Tropical Storm Debbie, which canceled our flights for like 2 days. We ended up having to drive halfway across the state to get to a different airport and finally got home late last night at about 11 p.m. But back in the shop right now. We got a lot to do, as that table is indicative of. I guess we better get this week started. Okay, to-do list this week. Catch up on orders. That's always first priority. We got to get all that stuff out. I got to pack up that huge Mr. Darby tug, which I never ended up having to be able to do last week. So we're going to get that crated up here today, hopefully. And then you can see the three main projects behind. We've got U.S. Virginia class, which should be close to lake testing. We've got this big 1/100th Engel Typhoon that just needs final leak testing, and then we'll be in the lake with that one as well. And then we're going to try and figure out the radio situation with this little Engel 212. Orders first. So here I am outside the FedEx office, just picked up giant tube that's hopefully full of RC submarine awesomeness. Gonna get it home and let's crack into this thing and see what I got. It may be a submarine. It may be a box full of loose parts. Whew. Well, it's 11:15. Got the tug boxed up, along with all of these guys. I'm kind of stoked because FedEx literally just reached out this morning and extended some massively discounted rates for me. Now, UPS has been doing an okay job. They've been giving me good pricing, but they've been beating my packages up. So thinking maybe we'll give FedEx a try. We'll see. I'm going to hop on and see what they're going to do for me. Maybe ship these out and see how they do. We got a special guest star.
Hello.
Nathan's in. And this is what we've got so far. So there's some good stuff going on. There was a lot of care and attention paid to that. But we know right away this poor prop has been folded back on itself like a squished flower petal. So we're gonna carve into some of these packages and see what we got to work with. All right, we haven't opened it up yet, so let's start at the front. We'll start at the good news-ish area. So this all looks fine. The Fairwater planes did not get sheared off. The sail is still in one piece. Everything looks pretty good, like it was probably shipped. Bayonet seam looks good. And then we got into the less goodish part. These are not, this is not connected to anything. This feels like it is. This is broken loose. Oh, there, just fixed it. And the prop spins really good. This is the new high efficiency, low noise design. But I think this can be massaged back into place. It's a clean break. And like Nathan said, it's warped a little bit. But I think it can be fixed. The real question is, what does the inside look like? That break? No, that looks good. A little thin CA, I think that'll get that back in shape. This will be fun. I think I might have another one. All right, let's see if we can crack into this guts of this thing. I get sidetracked really easily. threw the new radio in here. Took a few minutes to figure out what, wire went where and what channel was what, and get the reverses and directions and end throws and stuff all set up. But turn this on. I've now got rudder, damaged rudder. I got dive planes and throttle with my fancy ultra efficient secret wilty flower pedal prop, and of course the ballast. Things just don't go this easily for me. There's something wrong here. Look at that! So that's a repaired rudder. And that's a repaired dive plane. All locked in. I just got to fix a little hole on the other side, right there. And of course, get a little bit of paint. But in theory, that's all done. That's all good. I got to put a little glue there, right here, right there. And now I got to peel this back and get to that set screw, and then see if I can get this prop off. Look what I did. Okay, so it's not perfect, but it does kind of look like it's intentional with the little wobble in there, and I could probably bend and grab and straighten, but right now, looking at it from the side as I spin it, all the blades line up. I'm gonna fire it up, give her some RPMs and see what she does, but I think that's gonna work. Just repairing that hole, and I'm using baking soda and thin cyanoacrylate. You guys have seen this before, and I'm just gonna turn this so that the thin CA doesn't flow into the control surfaces. I'm just gonna wick. There you go. Now if I run a little bit of sandpaper over there, it's going to be perfectly smooth. And we can hit this some paint, and you'll never know anything happened. Well, there she is. Reassembled, repaired, ready for some testing. But probably won't get to that today. Maybe tomorrow. I think I might do a little weathering on this thing. You don't want to do too much, because you gotta grab this boat, you gotta manhandle it, you gotta grab it and twist it and yank on it. So just something subtle, just something simple, maybe a few little streakages here and there, and just get some effects going on, so it doesn't look just so like black and red. You know what I mean? I'm gonna share a little secret, top secret method for kind of weathering your modern submarine, okay? Just pay attention. So what we got here is a black submarine, which is boring, and submarines never look like this. The first thing that ends up happening when they're patrolling on the surface, you get salt streaking. So the salt water washes up, and then it comes down in like little rivulets, and it creates this subtle white streaking effect. Now you can duplicate that with pastels. Dave Merriman loves to use oils, but I'm lazy, and I want to show you something that works just as good, I think. Well, at least it works pretty good. It is much, much easier. In this scale, I'm going to use a 220 grit sandpaper. Now this is a satin gloss finish, which again, it's fine. I usually go for flat, but this is going to be fine. I'm not going to repaint this. And what we're going to do is ensuring a purely vertical movement. We're just gonna stroke it. We're just gonna give it a little loving, straight up and down, kind of light. Okay. Now, when you look at that, and I don't know if this is coming through, you end up with this vertical streaking effect. And you do this down the entire hull. And you want to be straight vertical, all right? Straight vertical, not sideways. This doesn't happen when it's moving. You're just stroking it. Just be gentle. And this is what you're left with at the end of it. When you wipe it off, you get this like subtle streaking effect. So this is not a change of color, this is a change of texture. And just drag it all the way down. Now realistically, this streaking effect would terminate at the water line, but I'm not there yet. Just give me a minute. We're not there yet. Okay? By the nose, the water is going to flow down, right? So you gotta follow the way that the water would. So you got to kind of start doing an angle up here. All right. And you're left with a really cool streaking effect. And of course, don't forget to do the sail. Straight down, straight down, straight down. Across the top. Give it a little wipe. If you don't like it, just hit it with some black paint. Start over again. I think it works really good. And it transforms your boat from a plain old, black boat into something that looks more realistic when you stand back. All right, phase 2. I'm using some oils. This is earth. But any oils, art oils, painting oils. I'm using a little pointy stick. You can use a toothpick or whatever. Now, real boats don't get awful rusty. These are maintained to a fairly high degree, but you're gonna get on, certain surfaces, particularly sharp edges, you're gonna get a little bit of rust. So what it is just, we got some missile hatches here. Don't go crazy, people. Just calm your jets, okay? Just like light, just a little. Super subtle, okay? Just to give just a little bit of definition and interest, just so it looks, something wrong or something not quite right going on there. Need a little black paint. So just a little bit. Go over everything, and then we're gonna move on to step 2. All right, little magic time. Pick a spot where there's like a bigger goober, okay, and use a Q-tip. And just drag it down. Look at that. Just like that. Smear it with your finger. Make a little streaky. Alright? You want this to rust, it will very happily flow downward, making streaky marks. Don't go crazy here, people. Just like a little bit. You see? Just a little bit. Just like that. Okay? Keep going. I know you got this. Alright, next step. White. Now, I'm going to use the same Q-tip. I'm going to be crazy. Little tiny bit. Okay? These limber holes is where water comes out of. So we're just gonna make little, just touch it, just touch it underneath, okay? Just like that. Just a little bit. And as your Q-tip gets rid of the oil, you can rub it downwards. Get the streaky marcus coming down. And especially from these corners, because all this water is all going to come down here and then down here. This is going to be a bigger a bigger spot here. Need a fresh one. There we go. Remember, subtle people. If you can see it easily when you're up close, you'll see it easily from further away too. Okay? Less is more. Easier to add than it is to subtract. So I put some more underneath this demarcation between the pressure hull and the deck. Because again, all that water that's from underneath there is all going to wash out from underneath, not touching any of this, but of course washing out on that. So I just dibble-dabbled, pushed down. I'm gonna keep going a little bit. It's still a little strong near the top. I'm gonna do a little more wipey in there, but you can see what I'm going for. All right, you can understand the vision of what we're going for here. You know, use a clean Q-tip. Rub it down, get rid of the excess, and it'll settle up for you. And I couldn't help but mess with it just a little bit more. Anti-skid on the top. It's a different color because it's a different texture of paint that they use, so they don't slip. Hence the name anti-slip. There we go. I think it's working. The paint's still wet. I always peel tape before it's dry. That was supposed to be flat black, but this is like more like flat gray. I don't know if I like that or not. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna mist it. I'm gonna go with some paint. There we go. Just a little touch up. Just kind of broke up, you know, the super monotonous finish there. And it's still textured. There's still a demarcation. It's just not like, just like a gray patch on the back, like a gray back, whatever. I don't know what a gray back is, but this is looking pretty dang cool. See what it looks like in the sun tomorrow. We'll get her all fired up, shoot her out in the pool, and do a full function test. But I'm pretty happy considering I put maybe an hour into it. I think I did okay. Okay. All right. Okay. It's Thursday. Had a good day yesterday, although like not a lot got done on the other projects. Got the stuff that needed to get done. Shipping some stuff out. Got the Lafayette, and so far it's looking good. Today, I want to get that in the water. I want to mount these periscopes up in the top here, so I got visual indication of depth when we're cruising. Retest and trim. I don't know if I'm going to swap out that servo or not, and then retest and trim the Virginia. But before we can do that, I got one more thing to pack up. That's kind of cool. Let's take a look. So yeah, this is a giant 19-inch flying sub, voyage to the bottom of the sea. This was printed out by Craig O'Neill up in Illinois, and I bought it off of him, and lost my shirt when I went to sell it. But hey, whatever. It's all fiberglass, super strong. PETG, I believe, was the material. Got the doors and the hatches there. I gotta box this thing up and get it ready to go to the new owner. We'll get that done and then get to work in earnest on the Lafayette. So one last thing, I got my scopes on. That looks better, right? Totally does. And it's going to give you visual indication of the depth of the boat when you're cruising at PD. If you don't have any P's, you can't cruise at PD. So we need some P's, and now you know, we can cruise with the water just up here, because that's really what RC Submarine is all about. The skill to keep that level, right? Last thing, missing up front is a little fared in I'm assuming it's like an antenna. It was missing. I don't know where it went. So I made a new one out of Sintra. I kind of sculpted this with my rotary tool. I'm going to trim it, cut it, ferret, and glue it on the front there so that we get the little shark fin up in the front. And that should conclude the upgrade / repairs to Lafayette. And once Logan gets up, we're going to go out to the pool. He's going to be my cameraman. And we're going to chuck this thing in the pool and see if it floats and sinks and comes back up again. And here's my little shark fin on the front. Oh, focus. Should be good. I think it looks good. And Typhoon's got some periscopes. These I had left over. I've been hanging on to them forever. This comes from Scale Ships. That was for their 96th Akula. But of course the Soviet scopes are all the same. And it was the same scale. Well, this is 100 scale and the Akula was 96 scale. But close enough. I think they look really good. And all I did is I mounted a piece of black 1/4-inch Sintra board on the inside there and drilled out the holes, and they're friction fit, so they're completely removable. Should be really cool once we get this thing in the water, and these are cutting just above the surface. Outside at the top secret test facility. Pool just got shocked this morning by the pool guy, so it's probably exceptionally high chlorine content, but we're going to throw the boat in the water anyway. I'm going to start with the Lafayette, get her fired up, and here, see if it floats. So we got it out, and just so you know how this kind of works here, you got these twin power leads. They get plugged in, and you can turn the switch on. So we got rudders, dive planes, prop, both directions, looking good, and ballast. All right. So she floats at a nice high water line. She's about scale, I think, for this boat. Got a slight list to starboard, but really not a big deal in the slightest. So I'm gonna grab the radio. We're gonna do a static dive test. Oh, she's heavy by the stern. No, it's kind of leveling out. You know, we got to get some foam in that tail there. That's not cool. All right, this is just about perfect. Now the trick is going to be whether I can get foam in that area behind the bayonet. If not, we got to see if there's weight back there that we can remove or something. But she was definitely out of trim a little bit. Let's now that it's trimmed though, let's see how she does in the pool. That is the absolute perfect amount of trim, little bit of positive buoyancy, really, really easy to get under the water. All right, sub dudes and dudettes, here's the challenge. I've not looked in the back here, but I'm willing to bet that the watertight section goes at least back to here because there's a motor and speed controller in this area. Now this, of course, is where the foam is currently residing. I'm going to pop the hatch open and see what we're working with back here. If I can't get foam in there, then we have an issue. What I may need to do is get creative by moving this weight as far forward as I can. This is probably also why it is listing to starboard, because it's not centered. There's the middle, and that's sitting off to the side. So let's see what it looks like in here. I don't know. I've never seen in there. Let's open it up. Okay, this is what we're working with in here. Goes back to about here. So the issue is everything that's back from there here on the upside, on the top side, is below the water line. Which means I could wedge a bunch of foam in here, but it'll scooch the tush up out of the water a little bit, which is not ideal. But maybe I can get away with less foam and making this more compact and centered forward. Or maybe putting more here and here. All right. Well, before we jam foam back there, let's see what we can do about making this weight more forwardish. All right, so that entire plate has now been shifted forward to here. So instead of a significantly tail-heavy boat, I'm hoping it'll be more neutral-ish, balanced-ish. And then hopefully, if anything, it's still slightly tail-heavy so that we can jam some foam up here. That's the challenge with these dry hull boats, man. Yeah, it's a challenge. Trimming is a challenge. Okay, so she is sitting pretty even on her keel and pretty level in the water. So let's dive. So she goes down by the bow. And all the way down by the bow. So it may have been just a little bit aggressive with the weight shifting. It's actually floating, it's not down on the bottom, which means the overall weight is correct. We just need to find out where to put it. So I think I'm gonna move that stuff in the very nose back a little bit. All right, so what I've done, I've weighed that old chunk of nasty lead and got the equivalent weight in self-adhesive. Now this is much better because I can split these, move these, stick these however I need to inside. Going to be much more flexible. Got a rubber band around, I can move these weights forward or back until this is perfectly trimmed, and then take a picture, pull out the tray, stick the weights on, and we should, in theory, be good to go. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. Again. Stop spinning around, you crazy thing. Better. Whoa. So it looks like I could move it ahead just barely. So the whole thing is negatively buoyant if you flood the tank the whole way. And I just backed it off like 1/4 of an inch. Oh, this is just about perfect. Yes, 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 yes. That is what I wanted to see. Okay. So now we need to find, that's just like perfect, right where I put it. What are the odds? So now I got to find room inside the pressure hull for the weight. So looking at this is even with the back. That's where the band was. So the middle of the weights goes right here. Got lots and lots of room. That's awesome. And that's it. Button it back up one last time. And let's get her in the water. It was about time something went right. I love it. I do. Went perfect. The boat is negatively ballasted, but you can stop the ballast tank almost anywhere that you want in the flood cycle. So just dial it in like a little bit positive buoyancy and it's like rock solid. Absolutely beautiful. A little big for the pool. You know, we had to do a lot of 18-point turns, but man, we get this thing out in open water. It'll be pretty badass. So, I just sent an email out to all my dive tribers, and they get first crack at this before I make a listing and open it up to the public. So, hey, for the fee is so cheap for like a whole year of deals and first opportunities and stuff like that, plus our bi-weekly meeting where you get access to our video chat, our video meetings. There's like 20 of us hang out, talk RC submarines every 2 weeks. It's epic. So it's up. I'll bet you this is gone by this time tomorrow. We'll see. Friday morning. Enough mucking about with the Lafayette. All done. Man, I love that boat. It's up. It's live on the website. If it's available, you can buy it. And if it's not, it's been sold. It's not been sold yet as of this morning. I'm disappointed in my dive tribe guys. Maybe they just don't want an Engel Lafayette at this particular moment. While it's still cool out, relatively speaking, it's like 85 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're going to dunk Typhoon and see if it's leaking today. Out at the top secret test facility. Oh, it's hot and humid already. We're going to do a slipways launch. So, because this thing is so freaking heavy, you can just like slide it, just like that. It's got a keel, so nothing's happening to the boat. There we go. I'm gonna fire up the radio, and we're gonna do a little cycle and see where it's gonna leak today. All right, that is submerged trim. We have no leakies. Oh wait, oh shit. Oh, just from the lid, we got a little leaky. Let's see. Right there. Okay, and come here, you. Oh, God. And it's leaking from around that switch again. That's like the 8th time. Heavens to Betsy. Sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. Obviously, This switch is not robust enough for this application. I've been using that in small boats like all the time. I don't know what's happening. This is the 4th time we've replaced it. I'm done with it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to order a heavy duty 40 amp remote on off switch. We're going to cap that hole off altogether, and you'll get the added bonus of being able to turn the model on and off without having to open it up. I'll get that order, we'll get it on the way. But now I gotta crack this stupid thing open yet again. And I got so tired of it, I built a special tool. This thing worked awesome. Blew all those wing nuts off in like 40 seconds. Perfect. Okay, guys. Here's the problem. This boat is a 6-volt boat, which sucks. The higher the voltage, the more efficient everything is. Everything just works better on 12 volts or more. I cannot find a high capacity 6-volt remote switch. I would love to put a remote switch in it. All the ones that I can find that are high output are minimum 12 volts, up to like 72 volts, but nothing as low as 6. And the issue is, if you hook up these other remote switches to a 6-volt system, they just won't fire. There's not enough voltage to trigger the relay to latch it and make the boat work. That sucks. I think I got it. And it was sitting right under my nose the whole time. So what I went and did is I installed an MM15 magnetic mission switch. Now these are good from 6 to 24 volts, I think, with a 15 amp built-in fuse. Now I would like to have a little bit more reserve in here, but I'm thinking both of these tanks together can't draw more than 8 amps. So provided there's not a massive stall somewhere or something like that, this should be perfectly fine. And then what I did, I put a blue marker so you can see where the magnet is, and you just give a little swipe, shoop, and it turns the whole thing on. So I think that's an eloquent solution. And I've capped the hole in the front with a stainless bolt using adhesive on both sides. So there's no way that plug is going to end up coming out. And that cures really quickly. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is bolt it back up again. Telling you, these boats, I pissed them off in a previous life, and I don't know why. I'm a nice guy. We're trying to get Virginia back together again. I was wiggling, and I was gonna spin the shaft to get it to align with the dog bone here, and you see what's missing. So I'm guessing the propeller is in the bottom of my pool somewhere. And that's what happens when you don't put it on properly in the first place. So let's go out to the pool, see if we can find a little bitty prop sitting on the bottom somewhere. Maybe my pool cleaner robot sucked it up. I don't know. Well, I see nothing. I assume this is when, I think I got footage of it from last week. It went, and then it stops, like right over there. I got some leaves. That's it. Rhonda, did you suck up the propeller? Did you? No. Is there a propeller over here? No. So, I'm willing to bet the pool guys cleaned it up for me yesterday, which means down a $30 prop, because I'm willing to bet it was just like finger tightened on the back of the boat, unbeknownst to me. So now I get to see if I can find another propeller. Alright, I managed to find the perfect diameter, and it looks pretty cool too. It doesn't spin the right direction, but that's okay. It's gonna look pretty badass in there. Shaft was threaded for M4. The prop is M5. I had to thread it back a little bit, which means I'm gonna lose about 1/4 of an inch on the inside, which means I've got to adjust the length of the drive shaft, and that's all really, really exciting. You can tell how excited I am. This, I discovered, was not secured properly to the drive shaft, and it looks like it was glued. So that would have been real fun too. So we're going to properly adhere this in. We're going to be Loctiting this on permanently, and hopefully that will stop this from ever coming off again, putting the owner in the same situation that I'm in right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we're going to slip it in, properly secure this, check out our drive shaft interference, and yeah, take it from there. All right, there's our newly installed prop. Now I want you to think about something here. It's spinning counterclockwise, right? But the blades are pushing forward, which means when you're goosing this thing, the drive shaft is going to want to screw itself into the propeller. So the only time this could back itself off is if you go, full reverse, which, it'll happen, but it's not as often as you're going to be running in forward. So every time you goose your throttle, it'll be driving that threaded rod deeper into the prop, which means the likelihood of losing it has just been reduced. This also spins much, much better because I greased it a little bit. So I'll throw this thing back on and see what sort of a deficiency we have in here. I got a hunch it's going to be about 1/4 of an inch too short. Yep, just barely catching the tip there. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I think I got to fabricate a whole new intermediate shaft to make up for that. It's got to be at least 1/8 of an inch longer, but ideally more like 1/4. All right, I was lucky. I managed to be able to back out this shaft because it was sticking in about 1/8 of an inch. Pulled it back, cut the old heat shrink off, put new heat shrink on. I don't know if you caught that, but I got heat shrink on here, and the reason for that is when you're putting this in and you're putting that on, this is flopping all over the place. So if you put a little heat shrink on there, it maintains the alignment, but you got wiggle. You got wiggle. So, in theory, we're good. Can put that on. Put that on. Try it out. All right. Think I got it done. Throwing it back in the pool. Just bench tested it. Everything is perfect. Now we're going to put it in the water. Make sure our trim is good. Make sure all the functions are working. Get it under the water. See how it performs. And if it's good, it's good. Let the customer know it's done. Send them an invoice. Get it off my bench. It's not going to happen that way. It's going to sink or explode or something. Well, I went and did it. I put the underwater camera in the pool, assuming that everything is going to be good with Virginia. So you know it's not. But just in case, it's there and ready. Not terrible. I have a boat. Any boat that comes home on the stand, successful outing, right? Hard to mess up when you're working at a pool. It's ballasted natively. There must have been water trapped when I was statically diving. Air trapped. Did I say water? I don't remember anymore. So it's like ever so slightly negatively ballasted. And the way it's set up, obviously, you need an intake to get it back up again. No big deal. We can add some foam. The issue is when you kick the throttle on, the pump turns on. So I have to think there's like dirty power between the two electronic speed controllers somehow. Maybe we need to run maybe the signal wires for the pump are running next to the power wires for the throttle. I don't know. I gotta pull it all apart and see. And getting it apart is a pain. I know Otto did a really good job, and this is actually a super popular boat of his. I've sold tons and tons of these files and kits and all of that stuff. But this is not, by any stretch of the imagination, a beginner's boat. And then the other thing, this is just a little like word of caution to people who are like, I don't have the time to build my own boat. I'm just going to buy it, right? You never know what you're going to get. Not even until you get it, but until after you've run it like 8 times. Case in point, messed up linkages in the back. Case in point, propeller not properly adhered. There's like a million things that could have been done incorrectly that are now your problem. And it could result in just extra time required to finish it up, or could require going swimming to get the boat from the bottom of the lake, if you're lucky. So, a lot of this is just frustration talking. This was supposed to have been a quick turn, but because there's been so much rework, it has turned into something more than that. So, big thing, I got to figure out why. The pump is kicking on with the throttle. And then we're back to trimming again. Okay, here's the situation we got going on here right now. I'm gonna kick on the throttle, just the throttle. That's all I'm touching, just the throttle. But listen for the pump. You hear that? And when I was just pumping it out, it was going like duck, 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 duck. But when it stopped sucking water and it was only air, then it was on strong. Hear that? What the heck is going on here, people? So there's all sorts of funkiness going on in here. These have all been split and fused. This is for the forward servo. Forward servo is working fine. That's not it. We do have a bit of a cut wire here, but that's not. It's still making power. This I'm scared. I don't even know. I gotta pull this apart and do this properly. I mean, maybe if it's got dirty power coming in. Let's see. What do we got hiding underneath here? We got a big. Well, I mean, it's making power. It's not pretty. It's making power. This fuse is redundant because the electronic switch has already got a built-in fuse, so this could go away if we're redoing all of this anyway. Makes me nervous, people. Makes me nervous. Tape and more tape. Oh, you just, boy, big chunks of tape just to cover that one. Well, that didn't deserve that. I don't think that's a problem. You know, the main power's out. That's good. You only want one feeding the receiver. It is going through, and it is, you know, in conjunction with main power. I mean, that could be an issue, but I've built cylinders like this for like forever. And they've all been the same. I've always run it like this. Maybe this is just really sensitive to interference. Now, I know some of you are going to be like, oh, you know, you should be running ferrites in here, and I can do that. You know what? I can do that. You guys are so smart. Well, let's do it. Let's just do it and find out. Okay. You have my permission to say I told you so. Snap-on ferrite. Now watch when I goose the throttle. Nothing. Not a hiccup. Not a nothing. Not a glitch, not a gitch, not a nothing. So there was interference coming through because of the proximity of the signal wire to the main power wire through the conduit. Fixed. Now I just got to put the whole stupid thing back together again. Put some more stupid foam in the stupid boat. That's going to be next week. I'm out of time. I got a doctor's appointment in like 10 minutes. I got a shower, so I'm not stinky. So, that is going to wrap up this week's video. Short week. Got some stuff done, mostly housekeeping, catching up from being away. Got a bunch of orders shipped out, and got that Lafayette all dialed in, finished, listed, and I'm sure it'll be sold soon. I got a couple guys who are like, hey man, when you do payments, I'm like, ah, you're killing me. You're killing me with the payments thing. It's fine. It's fine. I'm still happy with the way things are going. In theory, Typhoon should be all ready to drop in. A little bit more trimming on the Virginia, and it should be ready to go. We're poised for perfection next week. It's going to be a better week. You got my word on it. So, thanks for joining me this week, guys. If you like what you see, like and subscribe. Helps us out a lot. Drop some comments below. Let's hit the ground running next week. You have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you next time.